The story begins with the fact that magic tokens fell from a height to the table. A fire glowed around them. Bai Xuan turned around fright. He heard magic coins roll down the table. The main character looked at the table with surprise. There were coins and stood a small statue of Buddha. The guy scaredly said about the hexagram of the sky and earth. The guy swung and hit the table with all his might. His name was Bai Xuan, and he was 22 years old. The main character worked as a predictor. The main character approached Motorola on the street. According to the prediction, today was not the most successful day for sorties. Bai saw a puppy on top of his moped and said in a dissatisfied voice that the day today is definitely not the most successful. The guy glanced angrily at the puppy and said in a displeased voice that you could taste the soup of the dog. A broken puppy ran aside. Bai received a message that several orders were sent to him. In fact, for the protagonist, the profession of the deliverer was also very dangerous. The dangers surrounded the protagonist for several reasons. He rode on a scooter and looked aside. The world was inhabited by ghosts. One of the monsters held out his hand and shouted that he needed delivery. Suddenly, the ghost of the dragon appeared on the side of the flesh of the ghost. He attacked the hungry mutant from behind. Bai rushed at full speed on a scooter. Behind him on the road, one monster wiped another. Motorola stopped. Bai told boss that he has an order for a female ghost team called Plum Light. The employee came up and brought the main character the large packaging of the order. The worker approached and put a large package in the Motorola body. Bai thanked the seller and at full speed rushed from a place on his transport. The main character rode at full speed and looked into the phone. He could not find the right team. The actor on the set attacked the actress. She screamed in fright to stop. The operator on the set carefully looked at the camera. The actor attacked a frightened girl and shouted that no one would come to save her. The villain extended his hands to the frightened girl and pulled her to him. The man in an evil voice told the actress that although they are on the set, he could not miss such a chance. The girl was very scared. She could not believe that the actor really now seriously wants to grab her. The man stretched closer to the actress. She scaredly shouted to the director that everything was not going according to the script. The director looked into the camera. He joyfully patted and shouted that everything was going just fine. The main character appeared on the side of the motorcycle. He drove straight to the set. Bai at full speed on a scooter flew on a frightened actor from above. The man did not have time to dodge. The protagonist on a scooter drove into his head. The actor, after a blow from the motorcycle, flew far to the side. The main character viciously told the filming group that they simply stood and watched someone molested the actress. The stranger with tears in her eyes looked scaredly silently at the protagonist. The director held out his hand to the side and reminded the main character that they were shooting here. Bai brought a box with goods and explained that the actor simply molested a poor girl. If the man continued everything like that, then an adult rating would receive a movie. The main character put the box on the table and informed the angry employees that this was a lunch for them. The actress came up from the side. She wanted to thank the protagonist with a frightened voice. The stranger with tears in her eyes thanked the surprised protagonist. Bai turned around and looked at the girl with interest. He did not tell her anything. The main character looked at the actress carefully. He felt that a special double aura emanated from her. Bai activated his magical vision to carefully study the girl. The main character noticed next to the actress the outlines of some kind of ghostly girl. He could not understand what the inhabitant of another world was doing here. Bai looked carefully at the girl and realized that next to her was not an evil spirit. He asked the ghost if he was afraid of the consequences for using someone else's body. The stranger scaredly asked the guy, "How does he know that she was a ghost?" Bai calmly replied to her that if she wants to survive, then she could follow him. The actress could not understand where she should follow the main character. Bai grabbed a frightened stranger on his shoulders. He shouted to her that they would go to a safe place. The guy carried the actress on his shoulders. He realized that this ghost of the aura was intertwined with a man. Bai unloaded the girl from his shoulders to a scooter. He prepared to leave. The guy put on his helmet on the head of a surprised girl and shouted to keep her stronger. Bai turned around and with a smile asked for the passenger to hold on to him tightly. The main character abruptly broke. The passenger scared the guy, scared that he was going very quickly. The director was very angry. He shouted after the main character to immediately return. The guy, along with the passenger, came to his house. They stood near the door. The girl asked Bai, "Why did he bring her here?" The main character cunningly turned around and told the interlocutor that she likes to engage in adult business. The clothes on the girl were torn. She shouted to the guy that she was a ghost and asked scaredly what was he plotting. Bai asked strictly with the interlocutor, what does she think about? He showed the girl to take a shower, and then they would discuss everything. The stranger went into the apartment to the main character. She said she would go to the shower. The girl took off her model shoes and prepared to go into the shower. After that, I prepared to remove the stockings to undress and go to wash. The stranger began to take off her outer clothing before entering the bathroom. The actress strictly turned to the guy and said that he would not even think to touch her with a finger. The main character showed the girl aside and said that the bathroom was there. Bai turned sharply and studied the girl with a very attentive look. The actress strictly pointed a finger at the guy and demanded that he would not peep behind her. Bai was very interested and surprised. He did not understand what the girl became so bold. To calm down, the main character turned his back and closed his eyes in the room. The actress turned her back to the guy and strictly reminded him that he did not spy on her. Bai was sitting near the entrance to the bathroom. He cunningly shouted his guest that he would not look at her ugly body. Suddenly, the main character heard some kind of noise inside the bathroom. He was scared. The guy ran to the bathroom and sharply opened the door. He asked the girl in dismay, "What happened to her?" The main character looked scaredly at the actress through the door in the bathroom. The stranger lay on the floor. She scaredly asked the protagonist, "Why in this place there is no anti-slip rug?" Bai began to cover his face in fright. He shouted to the girl the words of forgiveness. Bai, frightened, opened his eyes and looked at the actress. He asked if she was all right. The girl scaredly covered her hands. She asked the guy with displeasure, "What is he looking at?" Bai turned cunningly and told the girl in a frightened voice that he was really blind and sees nothing. The guest angrily hit the guy with his hand and shouted that he was considering her quite an idiot. The actress hit the protagonist with all her might and he flew out of the bathroom. She called him a pervert. Bai sat on the couch. He told the girl a displeased voice that he did not want anything like that. He did not expect it to undress so quickly. The guy looked at the small, smiling statue of Buddha on the table. The actress left the bathroom and wiped her hair. She told the main character that he could knock. Bai was sitting on the couch. He told the actress displeased that he did not try to look specially at her. Bai looked in surprise at his guest. She continued to wipe all. The actress asked the protagonist, "Why did he come then?" The intrigued guy looked aside and told the interlocutor in a strict voice that he was a man of honor and would not do that. He asked the interlocutor, "Why didn't she go to the underground world and what is her purpose in the world of people?" The stranger was very surprised. She looked silently at the protagonist and prepared to answer. The girl frightened her eyes in fright. She said that her name is Qin Huan. She was born during the Northern Sun Dynasty. Her father was Gao Huaidai. He was Prince Dunpin. Qin said that she was the youngest daughter of her father. At the age of 19 years, she was married to General Muhan. One night, the killer with a blade made his way into the house and took the life of the girl. Qin, in a displeased voice, explained to the guy that she did not go to another world because she wanted to know who killed her. The main character carefully studied the actress with the help of a special glance. He noted that her resentment is only exacerbated. Bai decided to himself that this would not go further. He put his hand in his pocket and took out magic tokens. Golden and bright coins from the guy's hand took off and began to spin around the girl. Bai, in a strict voice, ordered that the 3 imperial coins flew forward. Coins flew around the girl. She felt a strong burning sensation in her body. Bai held out his hand in front of him, and magic tokens flew above it. Qin told the guy with the surprise that it was strong magic. The main character sternly told the girl that if she does not go to the underground world, they will begin to look for her. When she is opened, she will be punished. Qin fell to her knees in front of the main character and called him a benefactor. The girl with tears in her eyes told the guy that he had strong magic and asked for help. The actress with tears in her eyes asked the guy to find the one who wanted to kill her. She wanted to stay with him. Bai thought displeasure to himself that he could not calmly look at girlish tears. The main character grabbed his girlfriend by the shoulders and promised to help her. He demanded that the girl do not harm anyone and would not leave him a single step. Bai looked with excitement at the girl and noticed that her aura was different from other signs. Suddenly, the Buddha statuette on the table darkened. The main character turned around and was scared. Bai shouted to his frightened girlfriend to be more careful. Then, suddenly, an evil monster appeared in the room with a chain in his hand. The demon angrily told the girl that she had left the underground world and stole the body of man. He threatened that Qin would return with him and would be punished. Qin scaredly hid behind her friend and shouted that she did not want to return. The main character with a smile demanded from the demon to let the woman go. The monster angrily asked the guy, Why did he dare to get in? Bai said strictly to the stranger that he would not allow him to take his woman. The monster attacked the guy with a chain and shouted to get out of his road. The girl shouted to a friend to be more careful. The protagonist closed her with his back from a chain strike. The monster angrily waved a chain and shouted to the guy that he prevented his service. The chain of the demon turned into a snake. He shouted to the man that he had signed a death sentence. Bai confidently in a voice told the girl not to be afraid. He promised to protect her. The protagonist grabbed the Buddha statuette with his hand and prepared to defend himself with her help. Bai handed the figurine forward and shouted that he was using Waituo. Buddha sharply came to life and crushed a predatory snake to the floor with his huge paw. The huge Waituo shouted sternly so that the evil disappears. He defended the protagonist and his girlfriend. The large chain of the demon scattered into pieces. The monster was very scared. The demon looked and was surprised to see a huge magical Buddha in front of him. He realized that the guy could control the spirit. The monster stepped over the break in the wall and went into the room to the man. The main character called the demon an officer. He said that he himself saw everything. Bai suggested letting go of the girl. The monster angrily answered the guy that he would not violate the rules. The main character put his hand in his pocket and took out a crumpled poster. He handed it to the monster. Bai turned the poster with the image of the girl. He asked the monster what would he say now. The demon. He was very amazed at the image of a girl on a poster. He called her a beauty. The monster with a smile told the main character that the girl would not interfere with him to warm his bed. She can stay. To himself, the demon decided that it was better for him not to contact a guy. He had a great power. The main character turned around and showed a gesture to his girlfriend that everything was settled. The monster joyfully grabbed a poster with a girl with his paws and prepared to pull him out. The demon ran out through the hole in the wall. He shouted to the guy that they would drink together next time. Qin bowed to the guy. She called him a benefactor and thanked him for the salvation of life. Above his hand, the guy flew the statuette of the Buddha. He cunningly told the girl that, instead of gratitude, he could throw him a couple of thousand. Qin grabbed her chest with her hands. She told the guy that she had no money yet. The girlfriend came up and cunningly told the main character that she could pay him in another way. Bai was very scared. He felt a strong, inexplicable feeling in his body. The main character held out his hand forward to the girl. He demanded that she not approach him. Qin silently looked at the guy and thought to herself that he could be trusted. The main character ran to the table and grabbed napkins there to shut his nose. Qin scaredly asked the protagonist, "What's wrong right now?" The girl looked at a friend with excitement. The main character turned away and cheerfully replied that there was a strong wind. He even had blood with his nose. Qin was very surprised. She asked the guy, "Really all this happened because of the wind?" At this time, the phone rang. The protagonist looked at the table with excitement. Bai joyfully picked up the phone. He thought that the call was very on time. He did not know what to answer the girl. The main character heard only the noise of interference in the phone. He strictly demanded that Lin Lun tell him something. The girl came up and asked the guy with fright, "Why can only interferes here on the phone?" The guy with the phone turned and said with excitement that something had happened to Lin Lun. Qin asked a friend, "Who is Lin?" The protagonist threw aside magic coins. They took off in the room. Qin did not understand what was happening. Bai explained that Lin is his girlfriend and former colleague. Magic coins flew around the room. Bai brought a spell of the annex of the sky of the earth and lakes, fire and water. 5 coins hung in the air. The protagonist said joyfully what he found. Bai went to the exit. He told the girl that his girlfriend is in karaoke of the Tan dynasty. He feels a ghostly aura that comes from that place. Qin in surprise asked a friend, could he really find people? The protagonist was driving behind the wheel of Motorola. He reminded the girl that he asked her to stay at home and asked why she wanted to go with him. Qin power behind the guy with his hands. She told him that he was very dangerous at his home. "I have another officer to come for her." Bai drove with great excitement at the wheel and silently looked in front of him. Bright lightning sparkled in the sky. The main character with a girlfriend drove up to the big gate of the building. Bai tears from a scooter. He told the girl with excitement that they were in place. Qin answered a friend that an ominous aura came from this place. She decided that in this place a full of evil spirits. The main character went to the entrance and told the girl that she would not go far from him. At this time, a loud scream rang out from the inside of the building. The main character quickly ran inside the building. He realized that it was the voice of his girlfriend. Bai in the corridor extended his hand forward. He shouted that his girlfriend was stuck inside. The guy with a powerful blow was thrown by the door. There was an explosion and fragments scattered. Qian scaredly looked in front of her and felt a familiar aura. The frightened main character ran into the room. There was a dense red fog. Bai was very scared. He noticed how people were inside the room. The guests of the institution were very scared and wanted them to be saved. The predatory monster viciously shouted to them that they would not get out. Everything was in the red fog in the room. The evil demon shouted to people to make the victims of his reincarnation. The monster held out his hand to the girl and shouted that they would start with her now. The main character ran up from the side. He grabbed the girl in his arms to protect from the demon. The main character shouted to his surprised girlfriend that he would save her. Lin was amazed when she saw Bai next to her. The main character sternly told the girl that he used the search technique to find her here. He promised to protect her from the demon. The monster was very angry. He shouted to the guy that he prevented him from finding a goat for the benefit of his reincarnation. The monster swung with his hand and shouted to the guy that he would die now. Bai held out his hand forward and was able to stop a huge blow of his fist from the monster. The demon got angry. He felt strong pressure from a person. Bai looked at him silently. The main character suddenly swung and hit the demon with his foot. He shouted that reincarnation has its own rules. The demon, after the blow, flew away with a scream. Bai shouted after him that he killed the innocent and accumulated a lot of hatred in himself. Now he goes to hell. Bara clients shouted joyfully that the master could easily defeat the evil spirit. They were saved. Lin scaredly shouted to her friend so that the monster was still alive. Bai answered her so that she was not afraid, since he was near. The demon looked angrily at the guy and recalled that he was talking about justice and morality. He explained that others can also have evil intentions and thoughts. Qian looked at the demon from behind and the aura seemed to her familiar. The demon of the mouth went blue lightning. He strictly asked the guy how he dares to criticize him. The energy of the monster struck people in the room. Lightning began to go from them too. The main character with fright noticed how his girlfriend also had blue lightning from his mouth. Bai bit his finger with his teeth. He realized that he had no more choice. The main character grabbed the edge of the girl's clothes. She had bright energy from her mouth. Bai held his finger with traces of blood in front of the girl. She was still in an insane state. On her girl's body, yin-yang has a symbol on her neck. Bright lightning still sparkled nearby. The monster looked angrily at the guy and shouted so that he would not think to destroy his plans. The demon went forward to the protagonist and shouted that they would die together. Suddenly, a huge golden Buddha appeared on the side. He grabbed the monster with his hand by the throat. The huge golden Buddha swung and hit the demon with his head on the ground. Lin approached the guy from the side. He looked at her very surprised. The girlfriend glanced joyfully at the guy and thanked him. She said she was fine. Bai explained to the girl that he still had one very important thing. A golden Buddha glowed over the hand of the protagonist. The monster was lying on the ground. The main character took out a small magic piece of paper with spells. She was on fire. The demon scaredly asked the guy, is he really holding the technique of a special soul? He was surprised to ask a person when he reached such a high level of magic. Bai explained to the monster that such spells were passed on in his family from generation to generation. A frightened girl ran up from the side. She shouted so that the guy took pity on the monster. Qin scaredly shouted to a friend that the monster had a very familiar aura. She wanted to figure it out completely. The surprised demon lay on a broken floor. Bai was surprised to ask her girlfriend what aura she said about. Qin scaredly explained that the monster could know who killed her. The main character was in a meditative pose. He demanded that the monster tell what was wrong with his aura. Bai got closer to the demon and asked strictly, did he really want to be silent? The monster explained to his partner that he did not understand what special happened to his aura. Qin scaredly shouted to the monster that she felt his aura 1,000 years ago. The demon was surprised when he heard from the girl about 1,000 years. The monster answered the interlocutor that he remembered. He saw a bright blue portal in front of him. He said that you explained the years ago he had a chance to reincarnate. The demon told people that at the last moment someone put a spell on him and forever closed the rebirth. The demon became a wandering ghost and was looking for a scapegoat. He needed to get a new chance of reincarnation. The monster told people that he absorbed his souls, but then they were taken away by a certain power inside him. She did not give him a chance. Qin grabbed the protagonist by the hand and asked him to find a mysterious person for her. A girlfriend with excitement told the guy that it was that stranger who could kill her. Bai promised his girlfriend that he would try. The main character held out his hand forward. He began to pronounce the spell about the unification of the sky, earth, fire, and water. The main character looked carefully in front of him. He saw a flying demon with burning eyes. The demon swung his hand and hit the glass. It scattered in front of the main character. Bai stood and looked calmly in front of him. Next to him were his frightened girlfriends. They looked at the fragments of glass and at falling coins. Bai looked with interest at gold coins in his hand. Chin, with fright, asked him if he could see the stranger's face. The main character explained to the interlocutor that the unfamiliar spirit noticed him and cut off his vision at the right time. Chin asked his friend with interest, "Did he really find anything?" Bai explained that he saw the silhouette of a stranger, but he certainly could not see his face. The main character held out his hand and grabbed the girl by the face. He promised that he has other methods to find a stranger. It takes him a little time. The main character stood opposite his new girlfriend. At this time, the blue demon decided to turn around and flee. The monster decided to quietly hide away. Bai sternly shouted after him that he had not let him go. The main character held a burning piece of paper in his hands. He shouted to the monster that he killed the innocent and therefore he could not just escape. Chin scaredly extended her hand forward and said that in the demon there were the souls of her colleagues and he could not leave. The demon in a frightened voice promised the guy that he would never harm anyone again. The frightened monster could not hide. He saw a paper with a spell appeared in front of him. The blue demon screamed very loudly. A piece of paper with spells struck him in the head. 2 clients lay unconscious on the floor. Blue lightning still came out of them. 2 guys and the girl began to recover. They did not understand what happened to them. The main character took out a small magic bag. The demon was very scared in front of him. The main character swung his bag and caught a monster inside him. Bai closed the bag on top. He sternly told the monster inside that it was time to go to hell for that. The main character is a magic piece of paper in his hands. Fire emanated from it. The main character suddenly bent down and spread his hands to the sides. There was fire around him. Nearby stood his girlfriends and looked in surprise. Kin scaredly asked her friend, "What did he do?" Bai answered her with a smile that he was doing the work of officers of the underground world. Suddenly, an underground world officer stepped from the portal to the room. A demon came out of the parallel world. He was surprised to greet the guy and asked why he called him. Bai handed the demon a bag and said that there was an evil spirit inside. He demanded to deal with him. The officer joyfully thanked the man. The main character was surprised to ask the monster, why did he have bruises under his eyes? The demon explained that the presented beauty is very boring and does not allow him to rest. Bai looked strictly at the officer from the underground world and wanted to ask him something. The protagonist showed the surprised monster of the image of an unfamiliar guy and asked to identify. The demon was surprised to answer the man that he was also busy searching for this stranger. Chin scaredly asked the officer, "Where is the stranger now?" The monster replied that they were looking for an unfamiliar guy, and he should be somewhere nearby. Khan ran to the side. She shouted to her friends that they needed to go and search. Bai said in displeasure after her girlfriend to wait for him. The main character, along with the girls, was traveling on a moped. He asked Lin to move a little, as she interfered with him. The girl on the move scaredly told the guy that the moped is very small and she has nowhere to move on. Bai abruptly pulled the handle on the moped and the transport began to stop. The main character, along with his girlfriends, sharply slowed down and stopped. Kin scaredly screamed during braking. She hit her head in a guy. Bai was sitting on a moped between his friends. He felt interested. The protagonist jumped off the moped and ran aside. He shouted to the girls that they arrived at the place. Lin displeasedly told the guy that she almost fell off a moped. Chin shouted to the main character that she was hurt. The protagonist turned around and with a smile told the girls that he likes the fast riding. He sometimes loses control of himself. The guy walked and looked around in surprise. He said that there is something strange in this place. The girls looked joyfully at the window. Bai asked in dismay of girlfriends, "What are they looking at?" 2 girls ran to a clothing store. They wanted to try on everything at once. The seller near the entrance of the store greeted the guy and invited him. Bai looked at the girls in surprise. He saw how they were examples of different clothes. Girlfriends put on bright outfits with animal ears. They joyfully asked the guy, how did he like it? Bai slyly looked at the girls and said that all this is very good. The main character looked at his beautiful girlfriends in outfits and said that they looked charming. The seller brought the terminal to the main character. He asked how he would pay. Bai asked the manager, does he really pay for everything? The seller with a smile told the client that his wives are very beautiful and he must pay. The main character carefully looked in front of him. He noticed something suspicious. Bai turned scared and looked aside. Cracks appeared on the wall in the store. There was a very strong explosion, and stones in the wall began to fly in all directions. The main character fell to the floor and closed the girls from the explosion. Bai in fright asked Chin if she was all right and was she wounded. The girlfriend looked strictly at the protagonist and said that she was fine. He could not worry. Chin turned aside and pointed to the main character at his other girlfriend. Chin looked at the girl Lin and said in fright that she was lying unconscious. The main character held out his hand to the lying girlfriend. He said that the girl was wounded by an explosion. Bai grabbed his girlfriend's hands and began to shake her. He wanted her to wake up. Lin began to gradually recover. She quietly shouted in pain. The protagonist looked at the girl with excitement and said that he needed to go to extreme measures. Bai stuck to his girlfriend to kiss her and bring her into consciousness. The protagonist advanced closer to the girl to kiss her. Suddenly, an explosion was heard on the side, and two warriors jumped into the room. The main character was surprised. Bai turned to the side and asked displeasedly what was happening here. The protagonist looked out in the break in the wall. The soldiers stood around the fiery dragon and shouted that he was surrounded. Bai felt a large stream familiar to him by yin energy. The protagonist went through a break to the store. Many corpses were lying there. Bai looked at the bodies of people very scared. A frightened girl stood nearby. In the center of the room was a fiery fighter with swords in his hands. Around him stood warriors with chains. The dragon angrily told the soldiers to return and inform the authorities that he would kill everyone who will be in his way. One of the soldiers swung in chains and a large blade. He shouted to a fiery warrior that he had already ended up here. The soldiers rushed to attack the fire dragon with the help of magic snakes. One of them shouted that the fiery dragon signed a death sentence to himself. The dragon swung his blade against rivals. He shouted that they could not defeat him. The huge blue snakes were amazed. A very strong fire blow from the dragon. The soldiers were mortally injured after a powerful blow from the opponent. The fiery dragon abruptly broke off and ran to one of the fighters. He grabbed a warrior with his hand and shouted that he would die first. The soldier in dismay asked him to be released. The dragon swung with all his might and hit the soldier on the ground. Cracks appeared around. The fiery dragon with all his might pressed the warrior to the ground with his hand. The burning demon swung his hand and prepared to finish off the soldier in front of him. The fiery dragon suddenly saw how someone appeared next to him from the side. The main character with all his might hit the demon fist and he flew far to the side. Bai stood near the body of a frightened soldier. He shouted to a fiery dragon that he had finally found him. The demon got angry. He viciously asked who dared to attack him. Bai lounged the demon with his hand and said that he would come closer. He wanted to consider it. The fiery dragon rushed forward and shouted to the guy to dump. The main character threw magic coins up in front of him. He told the opponent that he was overestimating himself. The demon was scared. He looked around the magic coins near him. The fiery monster angry forward to attack the protagonist. The beaten soldiers could not understand where the main character came from. They looked at him with surprise. Qin showed her hand to the fiery dragon and told the main character that he had killed her. She needed to restore justice. The demon was very surprised when he saw a living girl. He carefully examined her. The fiery dragon could not understand why the girl was still alive. He took her all her vitality. The fiery dragon angrily shouted to the girl that her appearance today was a real success for him. The demon extended his hand forward and rushed forward at the girl. He shouted that she would go to hell. The main character appeared from the side. He grabbed the demon's hand and sternly told him that he first asked for permission before touching his girlfriend. Bai, with all his might, hit the fiery dragon with his foot. The demon had a hand. The blood of the dragon sprayed sharply on the girl. Qin shouted scaredly. The girl, after the blood fell on her, shouted that she was not good. Bai scaredly grabbed his girlfriend and asked what was happening to her. Bai looked at the girl with excitement and noticed a label of the soul on her body. The main character saw a red mark on the girl's chest. Such a mark could be used to transport souls without restrictions. It was valid only half an hour. The protagonist looked at the red mark on his girlfriend's body with surprise. Bai supported the girl with his hands and shouted that the label was activated. Qin, through a large portal, fell into a parallel world into the cave. The girl looked around with surprise and did not understand where she got. On the side of the girl, a stranger appeared and told her that all this is only part of the eternal life. The fiery dragon headed for the girl. He told her in evil voice so that, over the past 1,000 years, she became even more beautiful. Qin looked displeased at the stranger and strictly asked who he was. The dragon went to the girl and sniffed. He said that her smell is the same as 10 centuries ago. Qin scaredly looked at the guy and said that she remembered that he had once come to the wedding. The dragon extended his hand forward to the girl and said that he was the brother of that idiot. The warrior grabbed the girl by the head and shouted that when she got married, he had already killed that guy. He would not be able to disguise him in a different way. Qin screamed, very scared. She felt severe pain in her head. The dragon held a frightened girl with his hand. He shouted that she had to continue her journey. The fighter stood and held the girl with his hand. At this time, magic candles were burning on the ground. There was a dark aura around them. The dragon told the girl that for many years he gathered 10 souls to open the Hall of Eternal Life. He did not think that Qin could slip away. The fighter continued with all his might to squeeze the girl's head with his hand. She screamed very loudly. Suddenly, someone attacked the dragon from the side and chopped off his right hand. After an unexpected attack from the side, a fighter flew far back. The main character ran to a girlfriend lying on the floor. He tried to bring her to life. Bei, with great excitement, told the girl not to be afraid. He put her fingers to her forehead and promised her to save. The fighter jumped to his feet and unfolded at the protagonist. The fiery dragon with burning eyes angrily demanded that the opponent fight to the end. He activated the technique of control of the body of Chen-kun. Suddenly, the girl's eyes lit up and she jumped sharply to her feet. Bai looked at his girlfriend in dismay and asked, "What happened to her?" Kia held out her hand forward and grabbed the frightened protagonist by the throat. The girl swung and with all her might hit the protagonist on the ground. Stones scattered around. Bai tried to free herself from capturing the girl on the throat. He scaredly called her by name. The guy looked at the crazy girlfriend. He had a feeling as if someone was managing it. Bai said that something was wrong here. He held out his hand to the girl to grab. The fiery dragon felt a blow in the body. He had blood from his mouth. The fighter got angry. He realized that his opponent was very strong and he could lose. The girl viciously rushed at the guy and shouted that she needed to finish everything quickly. The main character looked at his girlfriend in dismay and could not fight off her. Qin attacked the guy and used the destruction of Mount Tai against him. The main character felt a very strong blow on his face from a girl. Inadequate Qin hit the guy from above with all her strength. Bai was still lying on the floor. Qin sharply bounced back from the protagonist. Bai prepared to jump to his feet. Bei grabbed his hand by the face. He told the girl displeased that she had used a vile reception against him. An angry protagonist held out his hand in front of him and sharply rushed forward to attack the opponent. Qin looked at the guy with a distraught look. She prepared to attack him further. The protagonist looked in front of him, scared. The girl ran to him and with all her might hit her hand over her face. Bai grabbed his hand by the face. He told the girl who had acted meanly in a displeased voice. Bai rushed forward and shouted to her opponent that she liked dirty tricks. The guy held his own hands with his own hands. He viciously told her that she herself forced him. The main character took out a piece of paper with spells. It was a talisman to call for souls. Bai held a talisman in his teeth. He scaredly thought that he would have to go to this painful sacrifice. The main character advanced and touched a piece of paper in the lips to the girl's lips. The surprised protagonist closed the girl's mouth with a piece of paper with spells. Her eyes were closed. Bai closed his eyes and began to read spells concentrated that the soul would leave the body and return to 9 souls. There was a very bright golden explosion on the girl's body. She screamed in fright. The girl's body shone brightly. Bai ordered the spirit to return to his place. Nearby stood a surprised dragon and did not understand what was happening at all. The girl's body continued to shine with bright green light. Golden arrows flew from her to the side. The dragon was very scared. He noticed how golden arrows fell into his body. The fighter felt a wound in his body. He felt a very strong magic. The fighter could not resist and fell to the ground. The girl stood next to him and there was a golden glow around her. The candles continued to burn. A very dark aura appeared around them. The dark aura from the candles headed into the body of the warrior and began to penetrate inside him. Qin jumped up and rose high. The dragon continued to lie on the ground without movement. Bai concentratedly ordered a girlfriend to his girlfriend so that the soul would return to the body and return him to life. There was a bright golden radiance. Qin lay on the ground, and around it was a fiery radiance. The warriors nearby were surprised and someone shouted that the guy was very strong. One of the soldiers said scared that he had never seen such power before. The girl opened her eyes and began to recover. The main character hugged her and said that everything would be fine. Bai looked at his girlfriend and asked where the dragon sent her soul. Qin looked at the protagonist and answered him that she did not know what kind of place it was. The main character asked the girl about the altar. Qin explained with fear to a friend that the dragon told her that the place was a step towards eternal life. He wanted to use it to open the gate. One of the soldiers with fright said that the Hall of Eternal Life is a forbidden place. If you open it, then there will be bad consequences, Qin asked the warriors. What kind of Hall of Eternal Life is this? The main character told the girl that ghosts in this world are divided into several categories. Most often, evil spirits are blue and good yellow. Bai told the girl that every type of evil spirits has its own special suppression hall. The Hall of Eternal Life is a place for the ghosts of kings. The guy warned his frightened companion that if the Hall of Eternal Life was open, then a large catastrophe will fall on the world of people. No one can handle it. The soldiers bowed to the main character and thanked him for his help. Bai answered the fighters that everything was in order, and he was still looking for this guy. One of the warriors with a smile suggested that the main character, so that he joined them. Bai explained to the soldier that he did not like it when his actions limit something. He prefers to work alone. The soldier slyly told the main character that he would receive an official position. Also, he will no longer hide the ghost next to him. Bai strictly asked his partner, did he really know about Qin? The soldier slyly answered the guy that he even knew that Bai bought his subordinate for this beautiful lady. The main character was very surprised. He could not understand where the soldier could learn all this. The warrior smiled at the main character and once again offered to join him. Bai agreed with a smile. Bai thought and realized that the girl next to him is without any official permission. Sooner or later, problems would have begun with this. If he joined the soldiers, then this would help him solve the problem. The warrior invited the protagonist to follow him in the underground world. He promised that the guy would receive a special pass for this. Bai answered a friend that he first needed to deal with his companions. The main character looked at Lin and noticed that she was still unconscious. The soldiers joyfully promised the main character that they would ask someone to send the girls home. Bai was surprised due to the fact that the warriors knew where he lived. The fighter said that their service can get information of any plan. Bai promised his girlfriend that he would return to them as soon as he dealt with one thing. Qin replied to him that she agrees on how her benefactor would say. The soldier clicked his fingers and told his companions that they needed to hurry. Bai, along with the soldier, went into a very dark room with furniture. They came from them. The fighter waved his hand to the main character and said that they were already in place. A soldier near the entrance waved what guy and said that he was going and would take a special pass for him. Bai looked around with surprise. He could not believe that it was an underground world. The main character suddenly heard some kind of noise on the side. He turned around in surprise. Two unfamiliar girls appeared on the side. They greeted the guy with a smile and said that he had come. Strangers surrounded the surprised guy. He could not understand what was happening here. One of the girls told the guest that he was not afraid. Another stranger said with a smile to the guy that he was an important guest, and they came to help him. The main character scaredly shouted to the interlocutors that he was in the underground world. The girl shouted to the guy with a smile that he is very funny. One of the beauties bowed to the guy and said that he was not attractive enough. One of the girls took out a huge dagger and prepared to attack the protagonist. Strangers viciously looked at the guy and prepared to hit him with a knife. The main character scaredly looked at the girls who attacked him and prepared to fight off them. The stranger missed and hit the floor with a knife. Bai beat off one of the attackers with a powerful blow. The main character strictly asked the unfamiliar, why do they want to kill him? The attacker displeasedly told the guy that he was doing her painfully. The girl swung a dagger and shouted to the main character that she had not played enough. Bai shouted to strangers that he did nothing bad for them, and they attacked him. The main character shouted to the girls so that they would not blame him later. He hit one of the attackers. The girl held out her hand to the guy and said in a displeased voice that he was doing her painfully. The main character grabbed the stranger by the throat and said that he did not want to repeat his question. At this time, someone patted his hands on the side. The protagonist turned in surprise. Rector Zhang Tao told a fighter named Zhao Min that he liked the guy whom he brought. Zhao went to the main character and said that he had successfully passed the test. Zhong explained to the main character with a smile that not everyone could participate in the capture of evil ghosts. Therefore, a check was needed. Bai explained to the old man that he could accidentally kill one of the girls. Stranger said with admiration that the main character was strong and they liked him. Bai asked the old man with excitement, told him about the reasons why he wanted to join them. Zhang answered the main character that he would help them in the capture of Zhu Lunya. The guy joyfully confirmed that he was in business. The old man explained to the main character that not all evil ghosts were able to do. Since the appearance of Chun Luna in the underground world, Riots arose and this influenced the world of people. Zhang told the guy that over the past 3 years, many strange events have occurred in the world. The temples were destroyed and people, souls were stolen, the dead did not get to them. The old man believes that the whole thing is in Zhang Luna. The old man told the main character that Zhang Lun went to the Hall of Eternal Life. This once again confirms his suspicion. Bai asked his partner with interest, how could Zhang get there? The old man explained to the main character that all this is not so simple. Zhang said that most of the halls of eternal life are under their management, except for one. In this hall, evil spirits are very strong. Therefore, the hall itself was built using dragons to suppress spirits. Even a protective barrier does not guarantee that there are no accidents in this place. The main character told the soldiers that his girls were transferred to some kind of cave. He asked if there were such places near the hall. Zhang explained to the main character that there are very many caves. Suddenly, the old man on his belt rang the shower bell. He was very surprised. The girl ran up from the side and shouted that she had a report. The messenger scaredly told the old man that someone destroyed the towers that restrained the spirits of the spirit. They can break out at any moment. Zhang turned and went to the exit. He strictly commanded his subordinates so that the guard immediately caught the escaped spirits. Bai left the door. He said with excitement to himself that everything that happens cannot be ordinary coincidence. There was a gloomy aura inside the bloody pool. There were several soldiers and the spirit of an evil girl flew. The demonic girl flew up to the soldier and asked if he considers her attractive. The old man ran into the room. He viciously called the girl an ugly evil spirit. Jun strictly and viciously demanded from the girl to immediately give up. 2 bright lightning appeared. They hit from above and struck 2 girls. The demoness went behind the old man and put his hand on his shoulder. She told him not to be angry. The old man felt witchcraft was used against him. The demoness slyly whispered to him that they were just ordinary girls and they could not be rude with them. Zhang turned strictly and told the girl that she could not use her techniques on him. The old man extended his hand forward and grabbed her head of a frightened girl. Zhang, with all his might, hit the girl on the ground with his head. He shouted that she deserves death. Evil perfumes appeared. They began to shout to the old man that he had held them for hundreds of years and now it was time to pay in bills. Jun looked in fright at evil spirits around him. He realized that the girl had bewitched him, and he did not notice the trap. One of the girls swung a dagger and shouted to the old man that now everything is too late and he would die. The main character appeared from the side. He launched magic coins and struck the demons. The old man was surprised and did not understand what was happening. Bai grabbed a demonic girl by the head and said strictly to the old man that he could no longer stand aside. Bai squeezed his hand into his fist and crushed the demoness. He explained to the old man that if they are dealing with evil spirits, then they cannot be sorry. The old man looked at the protagonist in surprise. He thought that the guy was very capable if he could kill the ghost with his bare hands. Evil perfumes flew up from the side. One of them told the main character so that he did not get into his own business. Spirits from all sides rushed angrily at the guy and prepared to kill him. Bai held a magic bag in his hands. He shouted to the spirits that they could attack him and save him a lot of time. The demoness on top attacked the guy and shouted that she had killed a bunch of people like him. She viciously warned that Bai was preparing for death. Around the protagonist, bright lightning appeared. He attacked the demon attacking him and she screamed. Evil perfumes were very surprised. They realized that the guy was very strong and did not know what to do next. The demons turned around and flew aside. They decided to hide. The Hu-hun appeared behind them. Evil perfumes during the flight of the frightened saw that they were ambushed in front of them. The protagonist, with the help of a magic bag, began to suck into himself demons. They tried to resist. Bai held a magic bag in his hands. He said in a calm voice that he had used the capture. The old man scaredly asked the warrior, "Where did he find such a strong guy?" Zhao was surprised to answer the old man that he sees for the first time so that someone would be so skillfully treated with a ghost. Bai handed the old man a bag and said that there were all the escaped ghosts inside. Zhang thanked the guy for his help. The old man looked carefully at the bag. Around him were purple lightning. Chong studied the bag and with excitement said that one ghost is not enough. Zhao told the old man that he saw that all the ghosts got inside the bag. The old man excitedly explained to his partner that there was not enough ghost of the 7th grade. The main character told partners that all this cannot be a coincidence. When he used to save Qin, the girl informed him that Zhu Lun had already talked about something like that. Chong said in a frightened voice that 10 such perfumes could open the gate behind this exactly someone is standing. The old man unfolded a magic rivet. He said that they should immediately send someone to the Room of Longevity. There was a map on the magic switch. The old man showed the guys that the Room of Longevity is 100 miles from them. He ordered Zhao to immediately gather the group and go there. The guy scaredly ran aside. He shouted to the old man that he would immediately do this. Zhang looked at the protagonist and said that he should help them in this mission. Bai explained to his partner that he would go with Zhao. The old man handed a small green talisman of teleportation to the head hero. With his help, the guy could get into the Hall of Longevity. Bai squeezed the talisman in his hands with all his might and said that he would go there immediately. Around the body of the protagonist, a bright green glow appeared. He prepared to teleport. Bai disappeared very sharply. After him, there was a green fog on the street. The main character after teleportation was near the group of warriors. Bai looked at the wall of the dark cave in dismay. He said that the girl described this place already. He could not understand where the Hall of Longevity himself. The soldier held a magic sign in his hands. He said that the protective seal is still a hole. Therefore, the hall is hidden from prying eyes. The warrior sent a magic sign to the side. He said that he would take off the seal now. The seal in the hands of the soldier lit up very brightly. The radiation hit the wall of the cave. Suddenly, a bright and dark aura appeared from the wall of the cave. She went to the frightened warrior. The soldier screamed very scared when an aura attacked him. The warrior asked Captain Zhao in dismay, "What was happening?" The main character held out his hand to the side. He told the soldiers to immediately leave. He explained that someone had a trap in this place. Zhao is now obsessed with an evil spirit. The warrior shouted very viciously. Next to him stood his frightened friend. Zhao, with all his strength, grabbed the frightened soldier and dug into him with his teeth. The soldier grabbed a large chain. He shouted to his colleagues so that they knit the captain and would not let him go crazy. Zhao looked very angry. He was restrained by large chains. The warrior growled very viciously and loudly. There was a very dark aura around him. Zhao viciously told the soldiers that they were garbage and they were not here. The warrior was frightened by the captain to come to his senses. Zhu suddenly swung in the knock of a soldier. After that, they all flew away. The demonic warrior turned to the side and noticed the protagonist. Bai sternly told the demon that he dared to move into the body of a master of the underground world in broad daylight. Zhao angrily rushed and held out his hand to the opponent. He shouted that he had not drank human blood for a long time. The warrior grabbed the protagonist by his throat with his hand and shouted that he liked his smell. A golden glow appeared around the guy's hand. He viciously asked the warrior, did he really want to drink his blood? Bai swung his hand and prepared to attack the opponent. He shouted that he would be choked now. The main character with all his might hit his opponent in his stomach. The evil spirit from the body of the warrior flew far back. The frightened soldiers saw the fallen demon and prepared to catch him. The warriors stood and looked angry at the monster. They got ready. The soldiers tied a dangerous demon with iron chains to the column. The beaten demon thought with displeasure that he had underestimated the protagonist. Zhao scaredly told his friends that he was a great shame for him because he was obsessed. He fell on the trick of the ghost. Bai approached the bound ghost with a blade on his shoulders and asked what he had forgotten here. The monster answered the man that he would not answer him. The main character swung and stuck the sword in the demon. Blue blood appeared at the monster. Bai demanded that the monster immediately speak. He threatened him to destroy him right now. The demon with excitement told people that Zhu Lun planned to open the Hall of Eternal Life. He was sent here to this place to pull time. The soldier shouted displeasedly that they could no longer waste time in vain. They need to solve this issue as soon as possible. The soldiers together jumped out of the ground and prepared to hide in the red portal in the sky. The main character stood silently on the ground. He looked after the disappeared soldiers. Bei, during a jump, put his hand into the red portal for teleportation. The main character quickly moved through the portal and looked out of it with surprise. The main character stood surrounded by soldiers from behind. He looked at them carefully. The warrior frightenedly extended his hand forward and wanted to warn his companions about the danger. Near the large gate stood Zhu Lun. He knocked in them with a big hammer to open. The soldier looked scared at Zhu and warned the protagonist that he wanted to break through the gate. The demon stood near the gate and focused on them with a large hammer with a chisel. The soldier was very scared. He ran up from behind and called Zhu Luna. The demon turned angrily and shouted to people that none of them could stop him. After another hit on goal, a very bright and red explosion was heard. Red lightning shone everywhere around, and the gates scattered into the stones. Zhu Lun was very happy. He jumped and shouted that he finally succeeded. After the destruction of the gate, a huge and predatory red dragon flew out of them. People were very scared. One of the soldiers scaredly shouted to his friends that in front of them is 9 dragons of the tomb. The protagonist drained sharply and ran to one of the dragons. He asked the warriors, why did they freeze? Bai fled. Near his hand was golden lightning. He shouted that they should not allow the dragons to escape. The main character ran up and knocked out the magic door. Shards scattered around. The main character with great surprise noticed how someone was outside the door. Bai saw in front of him an unconscious queen of ghosts named Yuezi. Bai handed a piece of paper with spells to the girl's body. He warned the soldier to be careful. There was something wrong with the corpse. The main character held out a piece of paper close to the girl's face. She lay motionless. Suddenly, Yue very brightly opened her green eyes. She came to her senses. There was a very strong explosion, and the protagonist was taken far aside. One of the soldiers picked up the fallen protagonist and asked with fright whether he was all right. Yue stood on her feet. She angrily asked people who dared to stand in her way. The queen glanced angrily at the frightened people and asked displeasedly who dared to stand in her way. The soldier ordered his brothers to quickly catch the royal ghost. All of them swung in chains. Yue glanced angrily at people and said that they all showed disrespect for her. The queen attacked people with the help of red magic. She shouted to them that they should all be punished. The soldiers tried to escape. They were immediately caught up with a huge red dragon. Yue went to the frightened warrior and held out a finger to him. She asked if he was the main thing. The queen angrily told the frightened soldier that he would serve as an example for others. At this time, the main character ran up from the side. He knocked Zhao from his feet and shouted to run away. Yue launched a huge pink lightning against her rivals. The protagonist scaredly asked his friend, why was there any information about this unusual ghost? Zhao scaredly replied that he did not know. The princess turned and looked displeased at the protagonist. Yue attacked the guy with the help of a red dragon. She shouted angrily to him that he was already in her way for the second time. Bai launched the Buddha's golden figurine. He shouted so that Weitu fight against the demoness. The magic statue has lit up. Weitu held out his hand forward and shouted to the demoness to disappear. A very huge red dragon was defeated after the Weituo attack. The princess looked viciously at the frightened opponent and said that he could do something. Yue swung her hand and shouted angrily to the opponent that she could not tolerate ugly men. Yue swung and launched a bundle of magic red energy against Weituo. The main character flew in a meditative pose. He repeated a magic spell to himself. A huge red spirit appeared around the guy's body. He activated the awakening of the spirit. The main character in glasses angrily looked at his rival and prepared to get the blade from behind. Bai looked at the princess and told her angrily that he had not met the spirit that was able to control the dragon before. The main character rushed with a blade at the girl and shouted that he was even a little excited. Bai swung a sword to hit an opponent. She flew back in fright. The princess was very scared. A huge sword whistled straight in front of her. Bai looked at the rival and shouted that he was aiming in the wrong place. Yue was very angry. She held out her hand forward and threatened her opponent that she was scratching her eyes. Bai scaredly and in time dodged to the side. He realized that the princess was furious. Yue ran close to the main character and immediately hit him. Bai grabbed the girl when she was next to him and was sitting on him. The demoness angrily swung her hand and shouted to the guy that he would die now. The main character grabbed a magic rope and prepared to tie it with the princess. Yue looked at her body with fright and noticed how a rope appeared around her. The associated princess felt that she was completely immobilized. She could not do anything. Bai carried a tied girl in her arms. He shouted surprised soldiers that he finally finished. Yue tried to free myself. She screamed angrily to the guy to let her go. Bai demanded that the captive behave obediently. A soldier ran up from the side. He shouted to the captain that a ghost had escaped from a closed sarcophagus. Zhao asked the subordinate in dismay, "Is it really empty inside the sarcophagus?" Bai looked strictly at the warriors and said that another ghost was connected with the breath of the dragon. The evil demon flew through the gloomy and night city from home to house. The monster sat on the roof of the house. He viciously shouted that he had finally escaped from the Hall of Eternal Life. The demon looked with surprise from the roof of the building at people from below it. The monster saw a man near the car on the ground and prepared to ask for him. The demon attacked an unfamiliar man and threw him out of the car. The guard was scared on the side. The guards grabbed their weapons and began to sharply shoot at the monster. The demon extended his hand forward and stopped it with bullets flying into it. The monster swung his hand and attacked the guards with blue lightning. He held a scared man with his hand. Zhong was sitting at the table and with all his might hit him with a wooden box. The old man at the table from the window demanded from the ghost to call his name. Yue asked the old man displeasedly, Did he really decide that he could just interrogate her? Zhang was very angry. The guy came up from the side and brought the old man of the recording of the Hall of Immortality. There was information about the girl and other ghosts. The old man turned the bundle and began to carefully study it. Yue looked at him displeasedly. The old man read a detailed biography about the girl. The document reported that Yue was the concubine of the emperor of the Tang dynasty. She was engaged in dark arts and killed innocent people. Zhang looked angrily at the girl and shouted that she was sentenced to 3,000 blows with a whip. The soldiers grabbed the girl under her arms and shouted to the old man that they would do everything. The main character came up from the side and shouted so that everyone stopped. Zhang asked the guy in surprise, "What did he do?" The protagonist explained that Yue is a royal ghost and a whip will not hurt her with a whip. He suggested using the girl as a bait to lure another ghost. The old man asked the guy, why is he sure that the girl could lure another ghost? Bai said that if a girl is separated from another ghost, then their strength will significantly decrease. Therefore, the second ghost will not allow this. Zhang was surprised to tell the guy that the ghost would not be so stupid as to return to the underworld for the sake of saving the girl. The protagonist said with excitement that he could take the girl into his world. Zhang with fright explained to the main character that the captive could run away at any moment. Bai took out a piece of paper with spells. He said that if a girl dares to cause trouble, then he will force her to suffer. Bai laid a piece of paper with spells on the head of a surprised girl. He decided to demonstrate his skill. Bai closed his eyes and brought his hand to his face. He began the activation of the spell. The captive screamed very loudly. She felt severe pain in her body. Yue was very scared. She did not understand what was happening in her. The captive pulled her hands to the side and tore the chains. She had the whole body burned. The captive felt that she could no longer bear it. She did not control her body. The main character was surprised. He looked at the girl in dismay. Yue reached out to his face. The demoness grabbed the protagonist and pressed him to her. Bai was very scared. The soldiers were very amazed. One of them shouted that Bai knew his job. The protagonist frightened his hands in fright and shouted that he had chosen the wrong talisman. Bai took out another piece of paper with spells and put it to the girl's head. Yu felt severe pain and screamed. Around her body was a bright radiance. The girl clasped her head with her hands. She shouted that she couldn't do that anymore. Bai waved his hand and stopped the spell. Yue remained to sit on the floor. The old man was very surprised at the table. He was struck by the skills of the protagonist. Boy explained to the old man that he has the ability to stop the girl. Therefore, he could take her with him. Zhang jumped up near the table. He told the main character to catch the second ghost. He promised that no one would ever forget his heroism. Bai bowed. Bai turned around and asked strictly from the girl, "Did she hear everything?" The main character turned around and strictly ordered his captive to follow him. Yu looked angrily at the guy. She thought that she would kill him when her powers would return. Bai went into the apartment with the girl. He shouted for Qin that he was returning. The main character was surprised to look at the apartment. He could not understand where everything went. On TV, it was reported that the general director of the company Lufan named Liu Gushen was an attack. 2 bodyguards were killed. The main character carefully watched a report on TV. Liu prepared to report everything that happened. The man in a dissatisfied voice told reporters that he did not want to talk about anything. He wanted to leave. Yi unexpectedly looked at the man on TV in surprise. She recognized him. The girl went to the TV and could not understand what the man was doing in this box. The protagonist looked at her from the side with surprise. Bai could not understand why the girl reacted so much to an interview with Liu director. He realized that something was wrong with her. The main character was surprised to ask the girl, really, she knows the man on TV? Yue replied that she did not know. Bai looked suspiciously at his guest. She turned and told him that she could tell about this another time. At this time, 2 girls returned home. They opened the pen at the front door. Qin entered the room and joyfully told the main character that he had returned. Lin joyfully informed the guy that they, along with a girlfriend, went to shopping. Ya sat next to the main character. She told him with surprise that he had pretty chewers. Yua sternly told the guy that beauties live in his house, but he still pulled her here. The main character waved his hands and told the guest that the girls next to him were not his wives. At this time, Lin ran up to the guy on the side and sharply grabbed his hands. Lin hugged the guy and asked displeasedly, "What did the stranger do at home?" Qin asked the owner. "What kind of woman is in their house?" The main character hesitated and did not know what to answer. Qin looked closely and felt a strong aura near her. Bei turned around and informed the girl with a smile that a royal ghost was sitting next to them. He just caught him. Lin was frightened when she heard about the royal ghost. Keen said, with the excitement that the aura she felt on the street also belonged to the royal ghost. Qian informed her friend that when they were shopping on Sanya Street, she felt a very strong aura. This aura belonged to the royal ghost. The main character was surprised to tell his girlfriend that a great coincidence happened. An interview with a man was also taken on Sanya Street. The main character said thoughtfully that Yue reacted very sharply, since Zhao is the second ghost. Apparently, the ghost moved to the man Zhao. Bai turned to his girlfriends and shouted that they needed to figure it out. He simultaneously squeezed the ghost's hand. Yue shouted to him displeased that she was painful. The main character laid his hands on his shoulders. He said that she would pretend everywhere that she is his girlfriend. Yu turned displeasedly and told the guy that she did not agree to this. Bai told the interlocutor that she did not blame him for activating the spell. Yue was very angry with him. The main character went to the exit and told the girls to follow him. They were not when it was to waste time. The main character walked and pulled by Yue's hand. The girl asked him with a fright, what was he going to do? The protagonist thought to himself that the ghost should necessarily respond to the appearance of Yue. The guy and the girl approached the large building. Inside was the company's office. Bei stood near the entrance to the building. He said that the working day was over and the man had to go down. The main character saw the director and was worried. He needed to choose the right moment and track the reaction of a man. Li was accompanied by guards. The bodyguards cleared his way. One of the bodyguards went to the girl and shouted to leave. Bai was surprised to notice that the man did not react to the girl. He thought that the director was a good actor. The main character suddenly held out his hand and moved his surprised girlfriend to him. Bai pressed a surprised girl to him. He turned around and waited for a man from the side to react to them. One of the workers joyfully looked at the protagonist with a girlfriend. The worker said in surprise that this is romantic. Yu shouted angrily to the guy to let her go. Bai turned around and noticed that the man had no reaction to them. Bai raised his hand up and said that this guy could specially hide his aura. He did not feel any ghostly energy at all. The main character grabbed a green amulet. He said that there is another solution. Bai held a green amulet near his head. He asked the master through him. The master asked the guy what happened. The main character began to talk in detail about everything that happened. In the evening, he was at home. Yui at night calmly rested on the bed in the room and the protagonist. Bai was sitting on the bed. He thoughtfully told himself that the master had to understand him. They could not afford to make a mistake. The main character stretched out on the bed. He told himself that he needed to sleep now. Suddenly, there was a noise in the room and a ghost with weapons flew there. He stood and viciously looked at the sleeping guy. Bai sharply opened his eyes. He realized that there is someone in the room next to him. The attacker swung his blade and struck the surprised protagonist in the chest. The man looked angrily at the protagonist and said that he was no longer as arrogant as he was in the afternoon. Bai lay down with a blade in his chest. Suddenly, the body of the protagonist on the bed caught fire and began to decompose. Li noticed how the guy's body scattered in the fire. He did not understand what was happening. The main character viciously said behind Zhao that he was caught. The man stood scared near the bed. The main character was surrounded by girls. They all looked at Zhao with interest. The man turned angrily and shouted to the main character that he had deceived him. Zhao sharply and with a knife in his hand rushed at the guy and shouted that he would kill him. Bai angrily answered the opponent that they would still see who would die today. Several soldiers launched a huge golden network above the frightened man. From the side, Zhang came up and put his foot on the man's head. He said that he could not escape. The network was specially designed for royal ghosts. The old man looked at the captive. He told the main character that he was really smart. The guy said to put all the traps in advance. Li was very angry. He shouted to his partners that they could not catch him. The huge blue demon swung and tore the gold chain. He shouted to people that they were ignorant garbage. The monster held out his hand to the protagonist and shouted to people to fail all. The old man was scared. He shouted to the guy with an excited voice to be more careful. Bai put up a red blade in front of him to protect himself from the demon. He shouted that he would cope. The main character sharply jumped up and decided to hit the monster in flight. Bai screamed angrily that he could not behave in this way in his world. A huge golden Buddha appeared next to the main character. He attacked the monster in a grand scale. The demon covered himself with his hand and felt a very strong fiery blow from the Buddha. The demon felt a very strong blow by a blade from a person. He did not have time to defend himself. The monster fell dead to the floor and told the guy that he was very strong. The sight of this was surprised by Zhang. The main character laid his hand on the shoulder of the surprised old man and said that he could take the monster. Zhang asked the guy who his parents are. He was amazed at Bai's power. The main character answered the old man so that he would not be very surprised. Suddenly, the monster came to his senses. He shouted that he would die better than returning there. Yue was very scared. She realized that the demon now wanted to attack her. The monster viciously demanded from the girl to give him her strength. He wanted to kill the protagonist. Yue scared the demon, scared that she could die now. He extended his paw to her. The demon screamed viciously to the girl that he had nothing to do with her at all. The demoness felt a very severe pain and she screamed very loudly. The monster grabbed the girl with his hands and began with all his might to pull out power from her. Bai scaredly told the old man that they should not allow the monster to absorb the girl's powers. Zhang answered the guy with a fright that they should tear off the monster and the girl from each other. The protagonist in the back abruptly ran up and grabbed the demon with his hand and pulled back. Bai sharply grabbed his hands from the monster from the back and pulled him back to him. At that time, Zhang pulled the girl back. The demon scaredly thought to himself that the absorption stopped. He screamed loudly. The monster turned into a huge blue bird. Below there was a bright explosion and the protagonist closed his hand. Bai, with fright and surprise, noticed how the blue demonic bird climbed into the girl's body. The exhausted Jew fell unconscious to the floor. An old man stood next to her. Zhang scaredly told the main character that a lot of strength had returned to the girl's body. She may simply not withstand. The old man did not know what to do next. The main character extended his hand and touched a finger to the head of an unconscious girl. Bai closed his eyes and held his hand in front of him. He told the old man to take care of the girl's body, and he himself would take up her soul. Yue sharply moved with her eyes closed to her kingdom of soul. A huge red dragon flew around the girl. Next to him was a blue demonic bird. The main character sat near the body of an unconscious girl. A dragon and a bird continued to fly nearby. Bai looked at the girl and realized that she had still strength. She could be saved. The main character held out his finger in front of him, and a bright radiance appeared above them. The girl felt severe pain and screamed. Bai held his fingers near her chest. The demonic dragon, along with the bird, screamed viciously. They flew around in the room. The main character held a girl in his hands. She still did not come to her senses. The demonic animals looked at them angrily. The main character held out his hand and launched a paper with spells against the demonic animals. A bird and a dragon flew around a fiery stream. Bai looked at the girl in dismay. He realized that her condition was worse. If he had not strengthened her soul, then she would definitely die. The guy took out a small bottle of bag. He thought that the talisman could hold out for some more time. He needed to hurry. Bai poured the contents of the elixir from a bottle on a rag. It was necessary to apply him to the girl's body to help her become stronger. The main character began to rub the girl's body with an elixir from a rag. He could not act differently. The guy wiped the girl's body on the side with a rag. He asked her forgiveness. The demoness felt a very severe pain in the body and screamed displeasedly. Demonic monsters continued to fly in space and scream loudly. Bai continued to wipe the girl's leg with a rag. He almost finished. Yue screamed very displeasure. Bai continued to rub her leg. The demoness opened her eyes and began to look around her with surprise. The girl, in displeasure and angry, asked the protagonist, "What is he doing this?" Bai smiled scaredly and explained that he was just saving her. Yue was very angry. She called the guy a pervert. A dark aura appeared near her hand. The main character extended his hand forward and stopped the girl. Bai held his girlfriend by the hand. He explained to her that he was saving her and offered to look around. A demonic dragon flew around them. The main character asked the interlocutor, "Did she understand now?" Yue sat opposite him in silence. The demoness asked the guy with a dissatisfied voice, "How much time would all this take?" B looked at the girl's body and said that the last sight remained. The main character held out his hand to the girl's body and began to continue to rub her back on the leg. The demoness sat and felt discomfort due to the fact that the guy rubbed her. The girl deviated back. She felt strong energy in her body. Bai told her that he finished. The protagonist threw it towards a piece of paper with spells. He told the girl that her body is stronger and there should be no problems. You sat on the floor. The main character told her that everything would depend on her further. Two demonic beasts flew across the room. They shouted very loudly. The demoness sharply jumped to her feet and screamed loudly. The bird and the dragon began to attack her body. The girls looked at Yue's body with surprise. Lin said that a lot of time passed and the main character could get stuck. The girl's eyes were closed. Her forehead appeared a bright, luminous sign. Qin grabbed the main character by the hand and called the benefactor. Bai answered the girls that all this for him is children's fun. The old man viciously asked the protagonist, what are his successes? Bai answered him that the girl would wake up soon. Qin looked at the girl and scaredly shouted that she was recovering. Yue stood on her feet. She looked at people in front of her with colorful eyes. Bai looked at the girl in dismay and asked what happened to her. He thought to himself that Yue was offended by him and wanted to take revenge. Yue calmly looked in front of her. She did not answer anything for the protagonist. After a small pause, the girl closed her eyes and thanked her friend for his help. Bai, with a smile, answered the girl that he did all this simply to protect them all. Zhang told the guy that he worked very well. Now he and the girl had to return together to the underground world. The main character said goodbye to the old man. Lin shouted after the old man that they would see later. Inside the building, the main character told his girlfriends that he wanted to sleep. Qin agreed with him. Dark night, a group of monks walked at the edge of the forest. The moon shone brightly in the sky. One of the monks walked ahead of the rest and slowly rang in the bell. The monk rang monotonously in the bell and ordered that Yin pass and retreat Yan. Suddenly, the warrior heard something suspicious on the side. He looked scaredly to the side and then shouted loudly. The main character was in his apartment. There was a lunar night outside. Bai slept deeply and restlessly on the pillow. He saw some dreams. The main character smiled at himself and said that he could no longer drink. The guy saw himself surrounded by girlfriends. He held a glass in his hands. They all offered him to drink more. Bai smiled at his girlfriend. Qin shouted to him, scared to stop. The girl took a glass of wine in her hands and completely drained him to the bottom. Qin looked at the guy with a drunken gaze and said that she would drink him now. Bai looked at his girlfriend with surprise and scared. She moved close to him. The main character opened his mouth and prepared for a kiss from a girlfriend. The main character suddenly woke up in the middle of the night and jumped up on the bed. He heard a noise on the street. The guy ran to the window and asked displeasedly, who broke his dream? Bai opened the window and shouted in an unknown voice to the unknown bully, so that he never had children. After a small pause, the protagonist carefully looked at the street. On the street, monster fled for a frightened monk. The warrior asked for help. The monk looked out the window on the move. He realized that there was strong energy inside and he could have escaped. The warrior, without thinking twice, climbed along the wall with all his might to get to the apartment of the protagonist. Bai shouted displeasedly with an unfamiliar guest that he had climbed into his house. The monk replied that he should save his life. The monster sharply jumped out the window and prepared to jump into the apartment. The main character turned around and attacked an unfamiliar demon with a stream of fire. Bai raised his hand up and said in a dissatisfied voice that it was noisy around him. The monk looked at him with surprise from the side. The protagonist, in dismay, asked the stranger, was he really scared? The monk pressed against the guy and told him with tears that he had just saved his life. Bai answered the stranger with displeasure that he stained his clothes with tears. The protagonist put his hand on the stranger's face and said that he was frightened by the usual ghost. The monk answered Bai that he was not as strong as him. The stranger, with surprise, told the chief hero that he was compared in terms of level in his teacher at the level of the earthly kingdom of immortality. Bai asked his partner, what is it for the kingdom of immortality? The stranger told the main character in detail about the levels that the monks are divided into. Bai asked his partner, what level is he belonging to? The monk, with a smile, said that he was an ordinary student named Fa Sue. Bai asked his partner with interest, why is he afraid of ghosts? The guy did not answer him. Fly, with a smile, told his partner that he was supposed to deliver 8 ghosts to the Tiani sect, but he was ambushed. More than 10 ghosts attacked the monk. He fled with all his feet so that he would not be killed. Fa shouted that if his master finds out that he had rubbed ghosts, then he would beat him to death. The protagonist silently and in disbelief looked at the monk. He did not know what to answer him. Fa fearfully rushed to his new acquaintance and asked him to help him find the ghosts. Bai asked his partner displeasedly, why should he help him? Fa, with a trembling voice, explained to the chief hero that there was nothing good in the escaped ghosts. The main character looked out the window. He said thoughtfully that if the ghosts are not released, then the disasters cannot be avoided. Golden coins appeared above the hand of the protagonist. He decided to use the aura of the monk to track the location of the ghosts. Bai threw the coins over himself. He ordered the spell annexation, heaven and earth, mountains and stars, fire and water. The main character was with his friend in the kingdom of spirits. He saw some pots on the ground. Bai looked in surprise to the side. He did not understand what he saw there. The protagonist was very closely looking closely. He noticed something next to him. The main character noticed dangerous and predatory ghosts around him. They stood with burning eyes. The evil ghost with luminous eyes looked angrily at the man and approached him. Bai looked with great excitement at him. They continued to approach him. And unexpected for the protagonist was a very strong explosion. Everything around was covered with blue smoke. Bai looked in a careful look in front of him with a careful look. Da was surprised to ask his new friend, how did he do it? Golden coins flew over the hand of the protagonist. The protagonist asked the monk whether they were pursuing him. The partner was surprised. Bai said that he had found ghosts, but they are all under someone else's control. The enemy was directly aimed at the monk. Fa thoughtfully replied that he had no enemies. The monk remembered that there was such a sect called Tansha. She is at war with his sect. They began to enmity after the abduction of their sacred relic. The protagonist looked at his friend in surprise and asked him about the Tianch sect. Tha said that the Tianch sect has a bad reputation. They kill people without hesitation and specializes in corpses. The monk said that if the enemy sect controls the ghosts, then there may be many victims. The main character answered his partner that he was obliged to deal with this. Bai headed for the exit and told his partner to follow him. The monk thanked him for his help. A few hours later, the main character, along with his companion, found themselves in an unfamiliar country place. Bai told the frightened monk that the ghosts were inside the building. Fa trembled and said scared that it was cold and dangerous in this place. The main character approached the house. He said that Fa would not leave him. Tha asked his friend to act more precisely. Inside the building stood large pots. Bai looked at the pots and said that they were sealed. He wanted to check everything. The main character went inside the house and stepped on a small piece of paper on the floor. He was very worried. A pink color appeared around. Bai told his frightened companion that they were ambushed. Everything around was shone with a pink flame. The monk scaredly fell to the ground. The main character could not resist. He was picked up by a bright stream. The monk scaredly asked the protagonist, "What just happened?" Bai replied that someone was watching them. The protagonist and a friend frightenedly turned to the side and noticed a stranger. Bai stood with the monk. Around them were girls with weapons. Pink lightning flew from the eyes of one of the girls. Other girls began the same. The monk was very scared. The main character said that an unfamiliar enemy controls the four ghosts with generals. Fa barely managed to evade the blow of a spear from a stranger. He shouted that he did not want to die in this place. Bai leaned forward. He promised the monk that he would not allow this. The protagonist hit the stranger with all his might. She released the spear and flew back. Two girls accelerated with spears and ran forward to the protagonist. Bai held out his hand forward and grabbed the blade. He prepared to fight off the girls. The protagonist evaded strangers. He attacked them with a sword and a scale. The girls stopped. They looked angrily at the protagonist and prepared to attack further. Bai with fright noticed how pink tips of copies from all sides appeared around him. The main character very quickly went to the side. Spears flew past him. There was a frightened monk from behind. Bai did not have time to dodge in time, and one spear hit him. A wound appeared on the body. Fa asked his friend, "Is he all right?" Bai calmly replied that he had just a scratch. Strangers with weapons looked viciously at people. The monk explained to the guy that the girls were surprised due to the fact that he was able to resist them. Fee indicated that there are runes on the girl's body. He explained that he calls this information a pharmacy of chaos. This is Tansha sect. The main character raised his fingers to the head. He said strictly that they can destroy the formation if they find the center. Bai activated an important skill called an all-seeing eye. Strangers with weapons continued to run menacingly to hit the protagonist. Bai rushed forward at the girls. He joyfully shouted what he found. The main character grabbed one of the girls and shouted that the eye was already inside her. The main character opened his mouth and pink radiation passed from him. The girl dropped the spear. The stranger felt very poisoned and screamed loudly. The main character stood with an open mouth. A bright red aura came from it. The guy held his opponent's hands and did not let her attack. The girl tried to free herself. The stranger opened her predatory mouth and prepared to bite the protagonist. The guy realized that he might not have happened to him. The stranger rushed to the side sharply. The main character grabbed her hand by the hand. Bai pulled the girl to him. He said that they just need to reduce the distance between them. The main character pulled the girl close to him. He realized that he had no choice. Bai kissed the stranger. She was very surprised. A red aura came out of it. The stranger felt a very strong constraint. The main character stood opposite. The protagonist looked at the girl and realized that he finally succeeded. She lost consciousness. Bai stood in the center, and there was a bright red twist near him. From all sides, warriors with spears attacked him. The main character sharply rushed from the place and prepared to pounce on the girls on top. Bai attacked the unfamiliar from above. He thought that it was necessary to destroy the center, and after that the formation would fall. There was a very strong and powerful, fiery explosion. The girls scattered in all directions. Bai landed after the jump. The monk asked him what just happened. Suddenly, the land underfoot the monk fell through and he began to fall somewhere. Fa, after a fall with a cry, fell to the ground. The main character landed nearby. They were in an unfamiliar dark place. The main character noticed aside the figure of a warrior in red clothes. He sat in a meditative position. Bai stood near the clay pots. He said that they were in front of them. Nearby was a surprised monk. The main character held out his hand and grabbed the clay pot. At this time, the warrior got to his feet. The fighter hit the protagonist with all his might with his hand. Bai, after a powerful blow, flew far to the side. The warrior grabbed a large pot in his hands and called the protagonist a vile and a pathetic boy. The master of the Tiansha sect, named Gu Lun, held a huge pot in his hands. He asked the guy displeasedly why he broke here. The beaten protagonist got to his feet. He shouted that he realized who was sitting here. Fa asked his friend if he was all right. The monk displeasedly asked the abbot, why did he take his ghosts? He demanded to return them. The beaten guests told uninvited guests that they helped him to carry out the plan. The abbot swung and rushed forward on the monk to hit. Tha extended his hand forward and activated the magic. He viciously said that the abbot stole his things and now attacked him. A huge demonic monster flew out of the monk's hand and flew into the abbot. Guy extended his hand to the monk and screamed angrily so that he would practice. Fa shouted displeasedly. He could not get rid of the abbot. Jiyu held the guy with his hand by the throat and shouted that he had no chance. The main character suddenly appeared on the side. He laid his hand in the hand of the abbot and demanded that he did not climb his brother. The abbot screamed angrily. He could not understand how the guy appeared next to him. The main character swung his hand and threw the opponent far back. Jiyu could not understand where the guy could have such a speed. He did not even have time to react. The protagonist took a burning one from the blade. He looked strictly at the opponent and said that he wanted to run away from him. Bei rushed forward with a burning sword. He shouted to the abbot to look at him. Jiyu folded two hands to activate the spell. He told the guy not to be arrogant. A luminous ball appeared near the old man's hand. He prepared to attack. Jiyu swung and launched a whole pillar of fire against the protagonist. The main character put the blade in front of him to protect himself from flying fire. Bai looked in front of him, scared, and saw that his sword from the fire had scattered into the fragments. Jiyu swung and launched another column of deadly fire against his opponent. Gu was very angry and shouted to the guy that they would see now if he could escape.